Attention management is, I think, one of the biggest problems with really maximally leveraging AI as much as you can, because AI can now do so much that you can spawn a whole bunch of things, and it's then the problem then becomes, how do you manage all these different things, these different threads that you've got going on? And one way, I've got another way, but one way I've started to build is this TileMon app, which allows you to represent your priorities visually with space. So you have a single board or a single piece of visual real estate that represents your landscape of things that may want your attention. So importance is space, as it says here. And your agents can flag status. So an agent can come along and set a given tile to be yellow or red, depending on its priority. So I'm just going to sign in and just give you a quick glance at my my real board. And yeah, so I've got a bunch of things in progress at the moment. So this is one of my jobs. This is a whole bunch of my products. This is some stuff that for some reason that I can't currently explain has been classified at the top level, which it shouldn't have been. It should be in one of the inner boards. And yeah, I've got a bunch of other things here for different purposes. But yeah, the beauty of it is that I can resize stuff to represent the amount of importance that each thing has. And yeah, if it's a big thing, then it flags me and I see it more prominently. Yes, the idea being I can have like a dashboard. I forgot to mention, by the way, that TileMon started its life and still exists as a npm package. So you can just npm install this, and it will configure itself as a local server, and will serve up the TileMon panel view just on your local machine. And you can configure it for your different environments that you're working in. If you just, you can install it as a skill in Claude or whatever, well, mainly Claude, I would imagine. And it knows how to install itself and hook into at various points to keep track of what things are in progress. It's still a work in progress, of course, so it's not perfect. And I'd appreciate any ideas that any of you have about how it can be improved. One thing I didn't mention is that it's actually recursive. So each space on the board is a container in its own right. So you can drill into that and then add as many nested containers as you like in order to get the level of granularity that you want for your little workspace. So tangentially related to this is, or very directly related to this, is the feature of Claude Code that has been absolutely instrumental to my progress. This week, I've been way more productive than usual because I've started using Agent View, which is something that was added a couple of months ago. Actually, I just didn't notice that it was there. But I'll show you this now. Here it is. If I just move this over. So if you run Claude Code by just going, by the way, things keep popping up lately with all my work. I've got Playwright installed so that my agents can visually check like the aesthetic of things, like websites and games and random things that I've got going. Anyway, you launch Agent View with Claude Agents and run it like this. And it tells you all of the agents that you have spawned that are put in the background. So if you've got an agent currently running or an instance of Claude Code, I'll just run one. Let's just do this. Sure, I trust the folder. You can press the left key to pop that into the background, and then it adds it to the agent view mode. So yeah, now you can just toggle between all of the different things, and you press right in order to enter into that thing. So for example, this little thing, that just a crazy little idea. I watched a little YouTube video where it was like a stick man walking across the screen. I thought it was quite a cool aesthetic. It's quite colorful. So I built the same thing. I figured I might be able to, produce videos or something, or it's just another little tool. Anyway, I didn't really think much about it other than to just get Claude to start building the idea. But anyway, yeah, you can just have that running in the background, and yeah, it's telling me that it has something that it needs my attention for. Yeah, there's a few bugs that I found, and I've got it to fix. Yeah, I should probably quickly show you what it looks like, just for fun. I've deployed it on Vercel, Toonwalk. Yeah, it's a bit laggy because I'm recording videos, but there we go. So there's a few bugs, like this hot air balloon is not rendering properly. But anyway, I got it to fix those things. And yeah, it's telling me that it's now ready, and I've got a bunch of things that need my input, things that are still working. So the way that my TileMon tool was working was by using hooks to hook into the mechanics of agents that were running. But I've since become a bit frustrated with how it actually works, because it's a little bit laggy, but it means I have to wait for the hook to run. And I was wondering about how I could get it to be more passive. And having found this, I got to thinking, well, how does this work? This must be doing something similar to what I'm doing. And I just got Claude to actually reverse engineer how it works. And lo and behold, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I can leverage to do a better job of my little dashboard. So I wonder if I can find where it said about it. Background monitoring. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I got it to look into some stuff, and it's like major finds. Claude Code runs its own daemon. Blah, blah, blah. This is the jackpot. Your intuition was exactly right. Claude Code already built the NodeMon style monitor, and it already derives a per session status. Yeah, there's some files that it has hidden that actually already capture the status. So I built this whole thing that manages the status when I didn't really have to. It already existed in the harness for Claude Code. So that's great news as far as I'm concerned, because I can now leverage that instead of doing what I'm doing, which is actually a little bit unreliable and laggy. This should now be like instant and accurate. So, hey, that's jackpot as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, that's a little insight into what I've been doing. TileMon at the moment is still in development. It's you can log in if you want to, but expect that your login will be lost soon when I publish it properly, because I use Clark.js and it's just on dev mode. So when I go to production mode, I think you have to log in again. Other stuff I've been working on, this little game. I need two hands really. And that doesn't look very good actually. I'm just playing around with making it pixel art. But yeah, it's the idea of the game is like a rocket jumping style thing, where you have to time your rockets to propel you around the map. Can't do a very good demo because it's in progress. Actually, I could I could look at the live version, which is admittedly a bit behind. I'll have to put the mic down. So the idea is to use rockets to actually propel you across these different, like, difficult maps. Timing is important. It's a bit of a throwback to. It's a bit of a throwback to when I used to play TFC, Team Fortress Classic, the spin-off of Counter-Strike, and they had this very sub-genre of maps called Conc maps, where you could use concussion grenades to propel yourself through these like labyrinth-style maps, and you had to like time the jumps perfectly so that you could, get around corners, and while you're jumping you'd have to prime a grenade and time that one so that you jump to the next bit without, falling into lava or something. Anyway, I thought it lends itself quite well to a 2D platformer, and I like Metroidvanias as well, so I thought it'd be quite handy to make like a Metroidvania style conch jumping, rocket jumping type thing. Because, imagine unlocking different abilities, like different types of grenade, sticky bombs, and all sorts of things anyway. So that's something else I've been working on. What else? Yeah, of course, refining my plans for my business, FortyTech. Of course, that's part of my day job. I have FortyTech and another job, actually. I've got kind of 2.5 jobs. One is sort of very, very light touch. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm coming up with different strategies for how I can make my business more profitable, let's say. Yeah, so that's in the pipeline. Another thing I've been working on is like a content engine. So I've got a bunch of things built into my Forty workspace that is constantly on the lookout for content. And I like listening to Gary Vee. You may have heard of Gary Vee. He talks about documenting, not creating. So I thought it would be cool to just document what I've been up to. And yeah, so as part of that, I've been building this into my Forty workspace so that I've got things that run on a daily basis to just process my old Claude Code sessions to look for what I've actually been doing, decisions that I've made, also trawls like Git history across all of my 30 different Git repositories that I have in my personal projects. So that is quite good. I'm just gonna do something. Tell me what I've been working on over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, so my Content Scout works. So my workspace has in it a prescribed step-by-step workflow that tells any task development task to follow a sequence. So it'll build the thing. It will then run like code reviews against the thing and iterate the build process until the code reviewer is satisfied. It will then test the thing. And I've just slipped in a final step that is to document the thing, which is just to write into my workspace an entry that describes the thing that was built, any problems and anything interesting about that thing that was built, so that I've got a record not only of the Git history, which is the thing that was actually changed, but also try to capture the why it was changed in a bit more detail in these journal entries. So, maybe document some of the rationale behind, some of the decisions and things like that. So yeah, that's quite handy. And what this has now been able to do, having just run that or answered that question using the journals, is summarize the work that was done in a bit more detail. So it's talking about TileMon, which is a big thing I've been trying to focus on. FortyTech, which is, you know, some strategic stuff. The game thing. There's a few things around. My dad has some websites that he builds, and I've been helping with that a little bit. So, so the first one is Golden Yesterday, which is a thing where it's like vintage art prints that he sells. Just quite cool stuff, actually. Very nice. But yeah, he previously had a WordPress website, and it was actually quite awesome to get Claude to take the WordPress site and just basically build from scratch a Next.js project with full integration with Stripe. Not that that's particularly difficult, but you know, to get it to just do it all, and it's a seamless website. Looks much better than the WordPress version. You know, it was quite an impressive thing with literally no help from me at all, to be quite honest. So there was that. And yeah, there's another thing my dad does. He sells like parts for Kinetico water softeners. So yeah, rebuilt built 2 prototypes for that, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it complains that the board is showing a lot of glowing amber. Bunch of things that need my attention. So, but it's cool that I actually have that listed and shown on my board, so I can go to the thing that needs my attention the most. But yeah, obviously that is quite a lot going on, and bear in mind I've got this is nothing to do with my actual jobs. So I have, like I said, 2.1 or 2.5 jobs. And yeah, I obviously do during the day, mostly working on my day jobs, with this stuff just in the background, in the evenings and whatnot, and running automatically a lot of the time, actually. So that's pretty cool. Don't know what the future holds really for all this stuff, but what I do know is that the people that leverage this stuff the most are gonna get so far ahead of everyone else that it is crazy. Quite scary. So that's why a lot of my attention at the moment is really focusing on trying to cram as much of this knowledge and education into my brain as possible. Because yeah, it's such an advantage to be an expert in this stuff. And the more you learn, the more of an advantage it becomes. So yeah. With that, I'm going to leave it there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try and do some more regular kind of update style videos, so that I can just document what it is I'm doing, because I'm doing a lot and I don't really talk about 99% of it, to be quite honest. So if you'd like to hear about more of the things that I've mentioned, we've got ideas, you want to be involved in any of the stuff that I'm building, I'm happy to share access, I think, to most of it. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, if not, I will speak on the next video.